Hello internets! Today we're going to take a look at the perhaps girliest looking game in my collection, Love Letter. This is a game, micro game, card game, that comes in this kind of cute little red velvet pouch with gold embroidered lettering. Like I said, a little bit girly, but I promise you, even manly men will find something to like in this package. So let's take a look at what's inside. What we get in Love Letter is a little rule booklet, which has the story so far and then all the rules laid out. Very clever. We get 20 cards in total. That's right, I said 20 cards. In fact, 4 of those cards are these reference cards. The game supports 2 to 4 players, so these reference cards you can hand out to each player. They show you all the different types of cards that are in this deck, the value of those cards to the left, in brackets to the right, how many times that card appears in the deck, and then some text which explains what that card does. You get 16 total game cards. Here they are. They're all very pretty, very well illustrated cards. In the top left of each card is the value of that card, the name of it right there, and then some text. This is the action that you do when you play that card. Okay, you also get a whole bunch of these little red wooden tokens of affection, which are tokens that show you whether or not you've won any rounds. I've replaced those actually with these little pink beaded heart tokens, which I thought sort of thematically fit this game a lot nicer than little red wooden cubes. I don't know why they wouldn't have done something like this in the game themselves, but for a few dollars extra, everybody seems to like the little pink heart tokens. So, very quick game to teach, very quick game to play, easy to learn. Here's how it's done. What we're trying to do in Love Letter is have the highest card. We're going to have a hand of 1 card, and then we'll draw 1 to make it a hand of 2, and then we'll discard 1 of those 2 cards. The player at the end, when we've reached the end of the draw deck, who has the highest card is the winner for that round. So, we always start by burning 1 card. This is sort of an element of chance card that gets laid face down and taken out of the game. In a 2-player game, you don't do this in a 3 or 4-player game, but in a 2-player game you also place 3 cards face up in the play area. This will reduce the total number of cards in the deck overall, but will also allow the 2 players to have a bit of a head start trying to deduce what other players might have. Now they can see 3 cards that are sort of taken out of play here. You have a Baron card, valued 3. You have a King card, valued 6. And you have a Priest card, valued 2. That's interesting. And now each player is dealt 1 card. So Jenny gets 1 card. I get 1 card. And the remaining cards go into a draw deck in the middle of the table. Turn sequence goes like this. So if I'm the starting player, I pick up my card and I look at it. This is the Prince card. So the Prince says, choose any player, including yourself, to discard his or her hand and draw a new card. Now, so I pick up 1 new card. That's how the turn goes. You always pick up 1 and then discard 1. I picked up the guard card, which says name a non-guard card and choose another player. If that player has that card, he or she is out of the round. So this card will let me try and guess what another player has, and if I'm right, I've knocked them out of the round. So in a 2-player game, if I'm right, that means I win the round. So looking at these 2 cards, I'm going to play this guard, and I'm going to guess what Jenny might have in her hand. So I say, Jenny, do you have... Now, I don't have a lot of information here to go by. I have 3 face-up cards, plus I know that I have this guard card here, and I know that I have a Prince card in my hand, and I can look at this reference card and say, I don't know, there's still a lot of other cards it could be, so I'm just going to take a wild guess and say, Jenny, do you have a Baron? And Jenny looks at her hand and says, nope, I don't have a Baron. So now it's Jenny's turn. Jenny picks up a card. She has 2 guard cards in her hand, so she's going to play 1. Say, Jason, do you have a baron? Jason doesn't have a baron. He's got a prince. So Jason says, no, I don't have a baron card. Now it's Jason's turn. He picks up a card, and it's a priest. Priest says, look at another player's hand. So I'm going to play this one, making sure that I don't cover the other card. All cards should be visible to everybody else throughout the rest of the game. Priest, Jenny, show me your hand. Jenny says, okay, here's my hand, and it's a guard card. So now I know Jenny has a guard. Now it's Jenny's turn. She picks up a card, and it's the princess. Princess is the highest valued card in the game. So if you look at this list, she's right up here at the top. The princess says, if you discard this card, you are out of the round. So you can't get rid of the princess. She's got to stay in your hand, and if you're forced to discard her in any way, then you lose. So princess is going to stay in Jenny's hand, and she's going to play her other card, which is a guard card. So Jenny plays the guard and says, Jason, do you have a handmaid in your hand? No, I don't. Okay, Jason's turn. I pick up a card, and it's a guard card, and I say, I'm going to play that one. Jenny, do you have a... Jenny, do you have Jenny, do you have a handmaid? That'd be a good guess. And Jenny says, nope, I don't have a handmaid. Jenny's turn. She picks up a handmaid. So now she's going to play that. Now, that's a signal to me. So what this handmaid card does, first off, says, until your next turn, ignore all effects from other players' cards. This is basically protection. So I play that. But that's going to tell me that I know that she didn't have that in her hand to start with. But it's a bit of a signal. So now it comes back to me. I pick up a card. It's a handmaid. So I'm going to play that. So that's my protection. Now it comes back to Jenny. It's the Countess. The Countess is the second highest rated card in the game. And the Countess says, if you have this card and the king or prince in your hand, you must discard this card. So thematically, this is kind of clever. If the Countess gets caught with the king or the prince, then you have to discard her. There are a variety of reasons why you may discard her. The other is that you have a higher card, like the princess, in your hand. So I discard the Countess, or Jenny rather discards the Countess. And that's a sign to me now that, well, I know it can't be the king, because there's the king right there. And can it be a prince? Well, I have one prince in my hand, so, but there are two of them. If I look at this, yeah, right here, there's two princes. So, could be a prince, or she may have gotten rid of it because she has the princess in her hand. Or she may just be bluffing. Maybe she has a lower card and she just doesn't want to give away that she does. I don't know the reason, but at this point in the game, I can make a few educated guesses. So I pick up a card, and it's a guard card. So I'm going to use that guard card, and I'm going to make an educated guess. Jenny, do you have the princess? And Jenny says, yep, I got the princess. So Jenny's out. And for my efforts, I gain one of these little tokens of affection. So that's 1 point. In a two-player game, 7 tokens wins the game. 3 players, 5 tokens. 4 players, 4 tokens. So you keep doing this until one player has the right number of tokens to win the game. Very easy. You're just basically reading what the card says and performing that action. And after a couple of hands, you'll really get the feel for, making those guesses at the table. So that's it. That's Love Letter. It's a fantastic game. Amazing how much they've been able to wrap into essentially 16 cards. but there's a lot of gameplay in here. These 16 cards, you'll notice mine are all glossy. That's because I've sleeved them. I'm not a big fan generally of sleeving cards, but with this game, there are so few cards, and guessing these cards is a big part of what makes the game work. So any little nick or scratch on these cards would certainly ruin the game. The little wooden cubes that come with the game are not bad, but for a few bucks more, I kind of like these glass beads. I think that's a nice little addition to the game. I wish that they would have sort of packaged that up with the game themselves, but the wooden cubes are not bad. So, Love Letter has my thumbs up. You might think it's a girly game, but really that's just your insecurities that you have to deal with. It is a brilliant game that has so much replayability in it that I can't recommend it enough.